According to TalkSport, West Ham United have already made contact with Aaron Ramsdale over a potential transfer this summer, as Southampton, and very kindly too, I must add, have decided they will let him leave for a cut price of just £20 million. And so they can remove his 100 grand a week wages off their bill. But what a bargain that is. Pure charity work by the Saints. Now, for the few of you that's unaware and can't differentiate the difference between a desire and a prediction, that was sarcasm. I don't think it's a bargain. But that's the rumour on TalkSport. 20 million quid. West Ham have already made contact with Ramsdale, and Ramsdale is keen on a move to the Premier League. I don't think he's that bothered. I think he's happy to go to any one of the 20 clubs. I don't think he's too fussy. But Ramsdale wants to get back into the Premier League because next summer is World Cup summer, and he hopes to get back into the England squad. Currently, Tuchel's 3 goalkeepers are Trafford, Henderson and Pickford, because they're all better than him. But Ramsdale seems to think that if he goes back to a Premier League club, he may get into the World Cup, which he might do if an injury to one of those 3 occurs. That's his best chances, not necessarily joining a club like West Ham. It's injuring James Trafford. That would give him a best chance of getting into the World Cup squad. Now, you can probably guess my feelings towards this. I'm not a fan of Aaron Ramsdale. I never have been really. I don't think he's great at playing the ball out from the back with his feet, which is obviously going to be important under Graham Potter. I think he's quite erratic. I think he's takes too long. Shot stopping, he's good at that, but which Premier League goalkeeper isn't? As I always say, shot stopping, I find it a strange compliment for a goalkeeper. Which goalkeeper isn't good? Are you even a goalkeeper if you're not good at shot stopping? I think he's average at best at it. A very camera savvy. Did you use that phrase when you're younger, by the way? That was a phrase that was used a lot when I played football. The keeper, he could probably catch it, but he jumps and tips over the bar, and it would be camera save. It was almost like a criticism of the goalkeeper. Instead of saying you could have caught that, camera save. Anyway, Ramsdale, camera save. He's very good at those. My name badge just fell off. Well, it fell down. We'll leave it off anyway. I think a joke has been made. And then high claims, punching. Well, he is Mr. Punchy rather than Mr. Catchy. I don't think he's great at that either. So I don't think he's great at commanding his box. I don't think he's great at playing the ball out from the back with his feet. And I think his shot stopping ability is average. I don't think he's a very good Premier League goalkeeper. I think he'd be one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship, or one of the worst goalkeepers in the Premier League. And loads of players fit into that category. I just don't have a desire to see him at West Ham. Now, prediction, for those unaware, Google it, what it means before you listen to the next part. Prediction is that we would make a loan move for him. I've always felt like this is something West Ham would do, whether it's Ramsdale or Sanchez. Those are the 2 keepers. My prediction is we will try to get one of those on loan next season. And putting my opinion on Ramsdale to one side, it makes sense. It would make sense for us to go after a goalkeeper on loan without an option to buy at the end of it, because there's quite a lot of good goalkeepers available this summer. One's already moved. There's probably going to be 5, 6, 7 good goalkeepers on the move within English football this summer. So it's a position that's there. There's plenty of players available. Ramsdale just isn't someone I'd want to see. I have a fear that if we were to get in a goalkeeper with the purpose of being the backup goalkeeper to Areola, that at some point next season we're going to have a conversation about how we need to drop Alphonse Areola. That he's not been playing very well, he's made a couple of big mistakes, but other keepers going to have to come in. If we got Aaron Ramsdale, I think we have that conversation with Aaron Ramsdale. I think at some point during the season we'd have to have a conversation, which is, do we bring Areola back in for this game because Ramsdale's made this much mistakes or whatever? I think that is what we'd get. Someone on par with Areola, and neither are good enough, in my opinion, to be the undisputed number 1. I think there's some goalkeepers that's on the move this summer that are, and there's a new name being added to the transfer rumour merry-go-round that I'm going to discuss in just a second. Before we do that, if you're new to Hammer's Chat, please do subscribe if you're new to the channel. And also do drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up button. It helps out the video and helps out the channel a lot more than you think. It takes 2 seconds, it's free. And just want to remind you, we've got a sale on at our online store. It's coming up to Father's Day, so if your old man's a Hammer, if you're a West Ham fan, have a look. There might be something you like. We've got books on sale, t-shirts on sale, mugs on sale, there's lots and lots of stuff on sale. Now, not everything is on sale. Not everything will be going on sale. We're happy to shut down the store with some things getting boxed up. But a lot of it is on sale, and there's some heavy discounts on there at the moment as well. We anticipate the store will come offline at some point in July, about a month away. Once the Oddballs boxers arrive, which is due in the next month, we'll distribute them, shut the store down, and that's it. So grab yourself a bargain. There's a few over there, hammerschatstore.com. Right, Chelsea. The club, not a person in particular. They are looking at AC Milan goalkeeper Mike Maignan. Is that how you say his name? Maignan? Let's just call him Mike. So Chelsea are looking at Mike from AC Milan, who only has a year left on his contract. So they're, by the sounds of it, keen. I think Chelsea, reading some reliable journalists, Chelsea were okay to go to the Club World Cup with their 4 current keepers. They've got 4 at the minute. They've got Petrovic, Sanchez, Jorgensen, and a young lad that's very highly rated, who I think was at Club Brugge this season, Mike Penders. Chelsea were happy to go to the Club World Cup with those 4 and almost assess them, work out, do we have a number 1 among these 4 goalkeepers? But because of AC Milan, Mike's situation, they're now exploring that, saying, well, we've got an opportunity here to get into top goalkeeper and then move on at least 2 of ours. Now, Penders is expected to go out on loan. I think he's only 19 years old, so he's really young for the goalkeeper, and Chelsea have got big, high hopes for him. I don't know much about him except that he's held in very high regard at Stamford Bridge. So we're taking him out of the equation. That leaves 3. If they do get AC Milan Mike, it could mean that Sanchez and Petrovic are available. Now, Sanchez we've discussed, and Graham Potter has described him as world-class before. And when he was... Well, that's unfair on Potter, actually. Let me retract that. Potter has described his high-end actions as world-class. So I think he's referring to the fact that he can make top saves and stuff like that. Potter really likes him. Had him at Brighton, had him at Chelsea. Potter's a big fan. Ben Roberts is a big fan of Sanchez, who is Potter's trusted goalkeeping coach / accomplice. And whenever Potter would look to bring in a new goalkeeper, Ben Roberts was heavily involved. So he could be available. Sanchez could be available. Prediction, I wouldn't be surprised we make a low move for him. He's not for me. Now, statistically, Robert Sanchez is a really good goalkeeper. I think as a save percentage in the Premier League last season, for example, I think he's right up there with the best. But he has made 5-6 big errors last season. There were some games where he was at fault for Chelsea losing the match or drawing the match instead of winning it. He cost Chelsea points. Now, they got into the Champions League but it could have been a bit more comfortable had they not had Robert Sanchez in goal all season. So I expect him to be on the move. Petrovic is the one that intrigues me most. Just 25 years old, which is young for the goalkeeper. He arrived at Chelsea after Graham Potter, and then Pochettino had him as a number 1 the season before just finished at Chelsea, and he looked all right. He didn't look amazing, but he looked all right. And the reason he intrigues me is because he spent this season on loan at Strasbourg under Liam Senior. He won their player of the season. Now, statistically, his data is really strong. I think he's made more passes than any other goalkeeper in the top 5 leagues this season. Now, doesn't mean he's good with the ball at his feet, but it does mean he's comfortable with the ball at his feet. Now, for context, Aaron Ramsdale's quite high up that chart, probably because he took so many goal kicks and received so many shots and caught them and put it down and played out from the back. So he's probably busy. But Petrovic's data is really strong as a goalkeeper. A lot of people rate him. A lot of Chelsea fans really rate him, and they're hoping to keep him next season alongside a new goalkeeper, and Jorgensen and Sanchez would be the 2 that departs Stamford Bridge. But he intrigues me. So if you've watched French football this season and you know a bit about Petrovic, do get involved in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the goalkeeper situation overall, actually. Don't be shy. Get involved. There's no right or wrong answer. Well, there is. There is a right answer. Your honest opinion. That's the right answer. So do get involved. The keeper I'd still take a punt on, and it is punty, is Michael Cooper, Sheffield United goalkeeper. There's only 2 players at Sheffield United I'd be looking at. But the minute Sunderland beat them is the minute I think Cooper becomes an attractive goalkeeper for Premier League clubs. He's still young as well, but I do think I think him and Trafford were head and shoulders above any other goalkeeper in the Championship. Obviously, Burnley got promoted. I still think Trafford will go to Newcastle this summer, but Cooper's still there. He's someone I think would be low cost. I don't know, 10 million. I'm just guessing here. 10, 15 million maybe you could get him out of Sheffield United for. I really like Cooper. I really, really like him. I think his shot stopping is strong. His high claims are decent. With the ball at his feet, I think he's decent, very comfortable, and very young for a goalkeeper. So he'd sort of be near the top of my list for goalkeepers this summer now. And previously, as you may know, if you tuned in to videos over the last month or so, it was Keller, who's now joining Brentford for an initial 12.5 million, worth 18 million. I think that's a good signing for Brentford. Flecken's gone to Leverkusen for just under 10 million, which I thought was quite cheap considering he's got a few years left. I think Flecken's 31 now, so he's still got a few years left in him, but he's off to Leverkusen and he's been replaced by Kelleher. And it's different. This is a difficult one because I've seen a lot of frustration and a lot of people saying we've been beaten to the signature by Brentford. Maybe we have, but I don't believe that. And the reason being, to believe that, you've got to believe we were in for Kelleher. I don't think we were. So there's sort of three scenarios really. Either we didn't rate him, that's that. We don't have enough money for him so that we did rate him, but at 12.5 million, we couldn't get involved. That's unfair. A deal worth 18 million. You don't know how easy those clauses are. Let's give Liverpool, I don't know, someone the benefit of the doubt here and say it's an 18 million pound deal. Maybe we rate him. So either we don't rate him, we do rate him, but we can't afford him. Or we did want him, but he chose Brentford over us. One of those three scenarios is true. I think it's the first one. There wasn't really any strong rumours. He got linked to us through Sky Sports, and that's not enough for me in this day and age. I think there's a lot of more reliable people when it comes to the West Ham side of things. Not one of them, as far as I've seen, said that we were interested in Kelleher. So I just don't think we were in for him. So I don't see it as we got beaten. But if you do believe we were in for him, then of course you're well within your right to think Brentford is beating us to a signature. In terms of the goalkeeping position, though, it's obviously one we need to fulfill. And I understand the whole sell to buy. I appreciate it's a financial thing. But you got to gamble at some point, right? You can't just have that for the entire... So what happens if you don't sell anyone until the 1st of August? What? We're not going to do anything until the 1st... Well, of course we will. We've got to. So you've got to gamble. And I understand if there's hesitation over replacing Kudus and or Paqueta before we know what happens with those players. I get it. You don't want to go spend 30 million on someone to replace Kudus, but no one actually comes for Kudus, and comes the end window, you've either got to sell him for cheap or keep him. And then you're in a tricky situation there. I get that. But there's some positions in this squad already that there is no player to sell. So goalkeeper, right back. We need a right back because A, we've only got one with Wan-Bissaka. B, to replace Soufal. And C, Wan-Bissaka is possibly off to the African Cup of Nations in January. So we're going to need a right back. So for me, there's no reason to not be targeting a goalkeeper already. There's no reason to not be targeting a right back already. And it might, and I appreciate, like you said, financially, I appreciate it still may be a sell before we buy, but we can't just live like that all summer because if we struggle to sell players, what we're just going to buy? No, well, of course not. We're going to still have to get players in. I think if we can get a couple of signings in early, and like I said, they may not be our priority. That goalkeeper might be 5th or 6th on Potter's list of priorities. But it's one you can get ticked off and move on to the next one. And I think there's some really good deals that's going to happen this summer in terms of goalkeepers. Like I said, Michael Cooper's one. If Petrovic goes out on loan, now the price tag for Petrovic is 13, 14 million because he's being linked to Leeds United at the minute. So I think there will be good keepers on the move. And if we can get someone in that's better than Areola, brilliant, big tick. I still think it'll be a loan move just because of the financial side of things. Areola's on over 100 grand a week, so I don't think we'll be offloading him anytime soon. So I think it will likely be a loan move and kick the can down the road in terms of paying for that goalkeeper, which, do you know something? It's sensible. If we can get someone like that in on loan, it's a sensible thing to do and focus the money, the limited money, rumours elsewhere in the squad, like striker, and especially priority number one for me is midfield. Put the money into the midfield. Anyway, there you go. That's the rumours according to, well, one's according to TalkSport. We haven't even been linked to Petrovic. I just wanted to talk about him. We haven't even been linked to Cooper. I just wanted to talk about him. We have been linked to Sanchez, though. But there you go. My prediction still remains. We will loan either Ramsdale or Sanchez. That's just my thoughts. Remember, I am an NITK. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but that's my guess. Right. I'm off. I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. Before you disappear, drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up, subscribing to Hammers Chat, and remember, head over to hammerschatstore.com.